did the Midnight Hour with Kitty Norville. It's radio with a bite. And her husband is Ben O'Farrell. Ben is a lawyer, and both Kitty and Ben were mistakenly turned. So they were bitten and turned, and that was books and books and books ago. And then we also have Cormac, which is Ben's cousin. And both Ben and Cormac were supernatural hunters, which is how Ben actually got turned. He got bitten on a hunt, and that's how he became a werewolf. And then in this series, we have a strange little aspect. In one of the past books, Cormac went to jail, and while he was in jail, a ghost named Amelia kind of hitched a ride in his brain, I guess is the best way to put it. So we have our heroes there, and all 3/4 of them travel to London for the first international conference on paranatural studies. And like the book said, like the back cover said, Kitty is the keynote speaker. And through this whole book, Kitty is really freaking out because she can't figure out what she wants to say in her speech. She's putting so much pressure on herself to really hit what she needs to and make it important. You know, she wants to make sure it's a good impression. And I have to say that that was probably one of the parts that I found to be the most disheartening, was that Kitty kept coming up with people kept asking Kitty if she knew what she was going to talk about, or they wanted her to reveal what she was going to talk about during her speech, and she didn't even figure it out until like the very end. So that's a little bit of a spoiler, but she figures it out in the end. But I found that to be distasteful, that all the way through it she had no idea what she was going to say. And I wish that the author maybe would have hinted at some of the things that were maybe going through Kitty's mind, like what she was considering talking about. But it was really more of like a out of sight, out of mind, but people kept asking her kind of deal. So, we find a lot of new people. So they're in London, and London is a whole new world for these guys. You know, they don't know anybody, and the couple of people that they do know have gone to London also for the conference. And when they get there, as heading into the conference, they are greeted by protesters and people that are really just upset about the fact that any of the supernatural world has come out, and that there's even a consideration of them being more than human, that they're not human is what the protesters that's what they're trying to say, is that because they're supernatural, they're not human. There's a lot of side stories going on in this book. We have things like, we have stresses about her speech. We have the long game with